Hello everyone, and welcome to Intermundos Magicae, or Magic Between Worlds. My name is Nayeli, and today I'll be creating a powerful ritual oil for protection. I'm creating this oil during a waning moon because it's to me the perfect moon phase for any kind of magic that has to do with protection, purification, or banishing. This recipe is my personal creation. You can adapt it to your specific needs or follow it as is. If you do choose to change it, always make sure to do your own research on the plants and resins you're using. The ingredients I chose for this oil are St. John's wort, black pepper, angelica root, rue, agrimony, nettle, ginger, myrrh, rosemary, bay leaves, horsetail, cinnamon, and finally black salt. I created this recipe with the idea of using 13 ingredients because I like to add the power of numerology to my magical recipes. 13 is a powerful number that brings change, good luck, and prosperity, even though its reputation is usually radically opposite. In the tarot, the 13th card of the major arcana is the Death card. And even though this card can be scary at first, its true meaning is actually one of deep transformation, usually for the better. I like to reflect on the order in which I add the herbs, as this further strengthens my intention. I start with St. John's wort because this herb adds strength and power to anything it's added to. St. John's wort is a very powerful herb used for centuries to banish negativity and for protection. Then, I add black pepper, which is also a strong protective plant associated with the fire element. Black pepper is great for banishing evil spirits, removing negativity, and breaking hexes. Next is angelica root, an extremely powerful protective plant. Angelica helps pacify strong, aggressive energies directed towards us and neutralizes negativity. As I prepare each herb, I take the time to connect with the spirit of the plants. To make the oil, I prefer having most of the herbs finely ground to make it easier to extract their essence. That's why I grind them in my coffee grinder. But before doing so, I'll still grind them by hand in my mortar and pestle because it allows me to take the time to speak to the herbs and infuse them with my intention. Rue is another powerful protective plant. It's also a strong healing plant and can help us heal from psychological or emotional damage done to us. Agrimony is a protective plant particularly useful for returning unwanted energies to its sender. Great for deflecting hexes and curses and sending them back to the person who cast them. Nettle is a known protective herb that can help us strengthen and protect our personal and physical boundaries. Nettle helps dispel darkness and also is useful for back-to-sender spells. Ginger adds strength and success to the mix. It's great to promote courage and self-confidence, and it can help us maintain good health. Myrrh is a sacred resin used for centuries in religious ceremonies. Myrrh helps enhance any magical working, and its intoxicating scent can help us grow our psychic powers. It also helps bring peace and promotes healing. In the case when the herbs are already ground, I still like to have physical contact with them before adding them to the mixture, so I'll usually pour some of it in my hands and connect with it that way. I believe that the more senses we use when practicing magic, the more powerful our magic will be. Rosemary is a traditional herb present in almost all purification blends. Burning rosemary helps purify our home of any unwanted energy and remove harmful spirits. Bay leaves are another classic in most purification rituals. We can make a floor wash with bay leaves in combination with other plants like rosemary and basil to cleanse and protect our homes. Bay leaves also attract success and prosperity and are good for healing. Most people know horsetail as an herb associated with love and fertility magic, but another property of this herb is that it can help us strengthen our personal boundaries. That's because one of the medicinal properties of horsetail is to help strengthen bone structure. I'm adding it here because setting healthy boundaries is an important part of what protection means to me. Cinnamon is great for adding power to any spell and speeding up its success. Personally, I use cinnamon a lot in my spell work. For the last ingredient, the black salt, I'll add it once I'm done preparing the oil and it's time to bottle it in a jar. Once all the herbs are added, it's time to add the carrier oil and heat the mixture. I use a double boiler system to heat my herbs with the carrier oil, but before adding the oil, I first add a shot of alcohol, usually cheap vodka, as it helps break down the essence of the plants and extract them more easily. Once the alcohol is added, I mix it with the herbs and wait for it to heat and for the alcohol to evaporate before adding the carrier oil. Personally, I use organic linseed oil as my carrier oil, but you can use any kind of oil you prefer. However, I recommend avoiding coconut oil simply because of its consistency. After adding the oil and mixing it well with the herbs, I'll let it sit at a low fire for about 6 hours, keeping an eye on it and stirring it now and then. It's important to keep the oil below boiling point during the whole process. After 6 hours, I'll let it cool down before bottling it in a jar. Now that the oil is in the jar, I'm adding a small teaspoon of black salt to the mix as the last ingredient. I make my black salt myself using raw sea salt that I grind and ashes from charcoal and herbs I burn during rituals. I won't get too deep into what is black salt, how I make it, and why we use it in this video, but it's a topic on my list of videos to create in the future. Once everything is in the jar, I'll let the herbs macerate with the oil for a full lunar cycle, so about 4 weeks. During that time, I'll make sure to shake the jar often, at least once every day. When a full lunar cycle has passed, I'll then strain the herbs out of the oil and bottle it in another bottle. I usually recycle linseed oil bottles for that, as they are convenient and made of colored glass, which is better for preserving the oils. I also add about 10 to 20 drops of vitamin E oil to the final oil to help preserve it. Since some ingredients in this particular oil can be quite fiery and irritate the skin, I don't really recommend using it as a perfume. Instead, this specific protection oil is better used for anointing protective charms, candles, or for performing return to sender spells or any type of banishing or protection spell. I hope you enjoyed this video and that you'll try making your own ritual oil for protection. Remember, always be cautious when working with herbs and never ingest any of the oils you make. It's important to handle them with care, to do research, and always be aware of any allergies or sensitivities you may have to the ingredients you choose. If you have questions, please leave them in the comment section below. And if you'd like to see more videos on witchcraft, visionary magic, and spirit work, please subscribe to this channel and hit the notifications bell. Thank you for watching, and wishing you all a magical day wherever you are.